I'm just going to do a quick video on what self-seeds in my garden. So we'll start here, and I've just stood on it all actually while I was doing another video. But here are Nigella, and these bruised leaves here are forget-me-nots, and you'll see the forget-me-nots self-seed all over my garden. These have also self-seeded. These are snapdragons. You can see they haven't even flowered yet, they're so new. Also, this is overgrown because it's going to become a new border. Let me just pull this up while I'm here. You can see where the original seed heads were from the Nigella. Oops. Still got seeds in them, look. Look at that. It's been so wet. Look at that. There you are. So they've all self-seeded. Let's chuck some over there. What else? This Cosmos self-seeded in my garden. Because it's self-seeded, it took absolutely till now to flower. It took so much longer, so it does need obviously a start, I think, in the greenhouse. This thistle, and I can't remember the variety, but again, you can see all these buds, and the bees have been over it all summer. But this self-seeded, and this is in fact it starting again here for next year. This is the foliage here. I'll just see if I can find the name for it. I do have the packet still, so I should be able to find the name for it. The other things that self-seed in my garden are, it's going over now, these marigolds. Let me find one in flower. I've still got butterflies, it's crazy. Let me find some in flower. Here, look, here's a better view. These, so they're obviously small at this time of year, but they self-seed. Let's get a dry flower head. These are the seeds, these little crescent shaped. Let's get a, here, look. Here's a better one here actually. So you can see here, here's the seed head. And these self-seed all over my garden. Here's some columbine and some more forget-me-nots. So this self-seeds all over the garden, and I will be moving these because I've been putting them in this border here, but they self-seed everywhere. Look at these huge clumps of forget-me-nots here which have self-seeded. I did not plant them here. This is my ranuncular patch, so it's normally cleaned out every year for ranunculars, and yeah, it's full already of columbine and forget-me-nots. I always want to call forget-me-nots sweet peas. So while we're here, here's another one that self-seeds in my garden, Verbena bonasariensis, and I don't like this here. So what I tend to do, what I'm going to do is, you can see here, it's self-seeded, filled up this pot with self-sown younger versions which will flower next year. So I'm going to plant them all. I'm going to collect them up as and when I see them, and I'm going to plant them all in a nice dramatic big clump together. So that's really nice, but I have loads of those. What else self-seeds in my garden? Nasturtium. This is all self-seeded. I did not sow any this year, and it's self-seeded all over the place here. And while we're here, honesty self-seeds in my garden. I had an honesty plant here last year, and it's dropped all its seeds here and self-sown all around this chair in my garden. It's even sowed itself back into the same pot here, and you can tell honesty because it starts off almost like a bells of Ireland, but then you get these heart-shaped leaves as it gets its true leaves, these frilly heart-shaped leaves. More columbine, self-seed. Oh yes, this feverfew or chamomile, this is self-sown. I did not sow any this year, but it's come back. So it's obviously going over now, but you get the picture. What else, what else, what else? Obviously alliums, which I don't have any of at the moment, but this is usually full of alliums here. This is self-sown, this scabious here. As you can see, these are all new plants here that have self-sown, so they'll be beautiful next year. Here's some more Verbena bonassariensis that's self-sown, and if we look in here, I bet you will find a sweet pea, because sweet peas also self-sow in my garden. And this is where I had my sweet peas this summer, and as you can see, here they are growing back. And I bet they'll survive as well, because, you know, they can pretty much survive my winters. What else self-seeded? I did have some larkspur self-seed over here. It'll be interesting to see if any come back. Might help if I clear these weeds out. But definitely larkspur self-seeded last year. I just don't think they're going to come up yet. And what else have we got? What else self-seeds? I think that might be it. That might be it. Foxglove self-seed, but I haven't had any of my own self-seed. But obviously they do. Columbine, let's review. Verbena bonassariensis, the forget-me-nots, the columbine, cosmos, did I say cosmos? So this is a self-sown cosmos, and that's why it's quite small, because it does take a while, so it kind of does need to be sown indoors to get the start that it needs, I think. What else? Honesty, yeah, we said the honesty. Here's some of my honesty plants that are going to be beautiful next year. Honesty, more columbine self-seeded in this pot, and more forget-me-not self-seeded in the pot. So more honesty over there, not self-seeded. Oh, I knew there was another one. Valerian. These are new valerian plants here. These are self-sown from a mother plant that was in a pot right next to it. And then I moved that pot because I was putting this greenhouse here, and I noticed that these are new valerians. And obviously more forget-me-nots, more forget-me-nots. So I think that's it. I think it's a foxglove that's self-sown, and the some of the snapdragons have self-sown as well. But there you have it. More verbena. You can see how these just self-sow everywhere. Look at them. They are everywhere, these verbena. Absolutely everywhere. These forget-me-nots. All these are going to be clumped together. I'm going to put them together. All right, that's it. That's your lot. What self-seeds in my garden. Is that another valerian there? There you go. So, you know, you've got a lot of freebies there. The marigolds, yeah, I mentioned. A lot of freebies there that you can just dig up if they're sort of growing where you don't want them, and then you can rearrange them as I've done here in this border. So these forget-me-nots will fill here, and I'll have the clumps of columbine with my honesty, and then my tulips in those pots there, and I'm going to have clumps of the Verbena bonassariensis sort of in between in my new borders here. Can't wait.